Hello guys, this is Level Zero, and today I have some CTE updates and new stuff that came with the update today, and some general discussions about how it's been going if you're on console. And the first thing I want to talk about is the tick rate. Um, and I want to say that before we even get started, I want to say that tick rate may not be coming to vanilla for Battlefield 4, based on how it's been playing out. And I noticed that or when I did my research and asked everybody that's in the game, everyone seemed to have gotten a performance penalty hit. And I don't know if this is just they need to tweak it or something, but it's most likely not coming in Battlefield 4 due to the high performance hit, because I play on a mix of like high and ultra. And I know I could just turn down my settings, but on console you can't really do that. So I usually get around like 150 to 200 without AA and A post processing and effects. And I usually get like 150 to 200, but it drops from an average of 110 to 130. That may not seem like a huge drop because I'm already getting over 120 or 140, but for those console guys that are playing on lower end specs, you're gonna notice that it's maybe playing at 60, you might be going down to about 40 frames per second. And I've asked around and they said the same thing. Some guy said on vanilla with a 970 they usually get over 120 frames per second. On ultra, like without any like post processing OpEx, over like 120 on ultra. Then they said they went all the way down to 80 frames per second. And I only can imagine with older AMD cards and older Nvidia cards. But that's all on that topic. It seems like they fixed the revive glitch associated with the vanilla. If you're not familiar with the old revive glitch, it's where you get killed, and then you immediately get revived with no medic that is near, and you basically cannot do anything. You can't accept the revive or get killed, and you're basically staring at this kill cam where the guy has killed you. It's really annoying, and I'm glad they fixed it, but it's been replaced by a new bug, which is you get revived and then you die instantly without holding circle or right mouse button or anything. You just die immediately, and that's kind of sucks. I don't think it counts towards another death, but I don't know. It's kind of, my opinion, that's worse than. Actually, no, because the old revive glitch, it required you to leave the game. At least with this one, you don't have to leave the game. You have to wait in the queue. But it is something for DICE to notice about. And I noticed this happened on the 60Hz tick rate server, so it might just be the 60Hz. I didn't notice it in the spring patch CTE, but then again, I never really got revived. So, I think I talked about performance issues. Weapon crate DLC, this is kind of a letdown for me because the LED6A2, which you're seeing in the background, there's nothing special about it, to be honest. It's just probably the same thing as the assault variant, although I've never had the time to unlock it. The easiest, it's basically a carbine in the LMG thing, in the LMG status, and I don't really see a reason for you to use the LE6A2 when you can use the MG4, M240B, which do a lot more damage, shoot faster, and have a tighter hip bullet spread. But maybe this is early and they might fix it, but I doubt it because it was in the CTE spring patch update, which is like a couple days ago, and then they didn't remove the guns, so fingers crossed they might update the damage models a bit. And yeah, Mare's leg could use a bit of a buff, maybe a faster bullet velocity or something. And the two guns, the one that comes with a compensator, and I think the one that comes with a suppressor, again, there's no really incentive to use them. You can just put a suppressor on the SG553, call it a day. And SG553 is probably the best carbines to put a suppressor on. It's just another thing that they should have noticed when they're balancing up the gun. The A94 seems to be okay. Might need a little nerf when you're using your burst fire, because it kills ridiculously fast on the 60Hz tick rate server. You get really fast on that. And yeah, we got some updates on the night maps, and basically based on how much I've gotten to play, I didn't really get to experience it, but again, I think on Gold Mud Railway, I played on Siege of Shanghai and Gold Mud Railway. Someone really could use a bit of a, how should I put this? The brightness could be a bit better. You can hardly see anything when you're on the ground. Looking like at ground level, you can't see anything, but when you look into the sky, it's bright as day. Not bright as day, but the moonlight doesn't really conflict with how the ground looks. So I guess they need to redo the lighting. Even though they did improve the lighting, I think on Goma Railway it needs to be like a bit brighter. I'm not saying it needs to be anything like one of those BF3 maps that was night, but it looked like fully daytime. I don't remember what it was called, but it doesn't need to be like that map, but at least a bit brighter so you can see the environment. But then again, you could probably just use the sound engine. And one more bug I found while playing is this weird blue screen while suppressed. And basically, they improved the suppression in the CTE spring patch. And actually, no, I don't think it's a spring patch. I'm not sure. I'll have to double check. But basically, now when you get suppressed, it's kind of like your whole screen goes blackish. But in my case, it was going blue, like a bluish type color, a bluish tint, which really got annoying for me because you can't really see. So it's another thing. But some of the positives, I know I've rambled on about the negatives. Positives, I didn't really find myself dying around corners a lot. It was still there, but that might be because of the server we were playing on, where we had like 300 pings and 150s, and my ping was personally 100, so I probably should be complaining, but it could be the reason of that. But when the 60 Hz tick rate server probably comes out in like Battlefront or Battlefield 5, it should be fixed because servers would probably be filtering out pings over like 150 or 300 or 200, so that should be a problem over there. And yeah, it's a shame that the tick rate won't make it. Maybe 60 Hz will make it, but we're not gonna get 120 in Battlefield, or due to the sheer performance that we get when we playing on the 60 Hz tick rate. And my specs on my PC is like a i7 4790K and a GTX 980, and the performance hit I'm getting, it's like I'm playing on a 970, which is not something which is nice to be thinking about. But then again, you always can turn down your settings, but that shouldn't really be the case. So
here's your ammo, pick it up.
I think I covered it. I think I covered everything. I think the positives were the 60 Hz tick rate. Never got to experience the 120 because just by the sheer number of people playing CTE, I was grateful enough to join a server that had like 58 players in a CTE server, Conquest Large. Never got to there's a new game mode called like Squad Conquest. I wish they would add back Squad Rush personally rather than Squad Conquest, but that might be something they'll add later. In the CTE update, they're actually bringing Gunmaster, so that should be a lot of fun. I meant to get some gameplay for that the other day, but I couldn't join the server because I was doing the gameplay for the damage models for the gun, for the weapons DLC, and I apologize for the sound quality on that. I don't know what happened. My mic is really going, and I need to pick up a new mic. But I think that's it for this video. It is. Sorry guys. I forgot to mention a couple other things that will be coming with the spring patch. Another little gripe I have with the spring patch is that thermal appears to be broken with the spring patch. So if you don't know what it is, it's basically the thermal that you equip on vehicles. I'm not sure about the thermal scope for the guns. I don't remember what the thermal scope is called, but it doesn't appear to be broken on that. But I only tried it on the night map, so I don't know. Thermal, it appears like foggy, like someone's been smoking a whole bunch of like weed in in the car or a chopper. That's what it looks like. It's foggy. You can't really see anything, and I hope it doesn't. I hope DICE didn't intend to do this, because that would be a pretty big reason not to use it. And then we'll be have to use Zoom, which I don't really like to use. But then again, it might be a reason. Might be their way of nerfing it, because thermal on any map is just overpowered. You can see everything, anything and everything. And yeah, another thing that will be coming with the spring patch is the straw nerf, which everyone is kind of scratching their heads about. I personally don't know why they're nerfing the straw. maybe on some maps it's a bit too easy to take out, but I don't feel the mobility of the shot should be taken away from people. Like being able to straw a AC-130 out the sky on what's it called? Gulf of Oman, which I think is the highest the AC-130 flies, as the flight ceiling is the highest on that map. Maybe just nerf the range, but I don't think the mobility and the way you can just whip it around should be nerfed. I don't know. Just trying to make it realistic, but then I don't know. I don't think it should be nerfed. I think things like the HVM should be nerfed. Just like that's the only thing I have in mind that should be nerfed. HVM, the pickup one that you can just one-shot anything with, that should be nerfed. But another one that's coming is the JDAMs on the jet have a bigger explosion. Not sure if this is the explosion splash damage, but it does really look cool when you see a JDAM fly and kill a tank. There's like a huge explosion. The easiest way to explain it, if you have not played on the new update to the CTE, is that when you blow up the IEDs on Goman Railway, assuming you're playing on Ultra with the specs turned on the Ultra, that's kind of how it looks. It looks like an IED blew up, and you could see like the smoke. It looks pretty epic on my part. But I wasn't able to get footage for that. I had to try it on kind of my own. So, yeah. Another thing that's coming is the TV missile nerf or buff, depending on what you want to call it. The nerf is coming. Basically, the mobility of the TV missile is being nerfed, so it's really hard to turn and correct at the last minute. So this means you really have to rely on your pilot, which is pretty much why I call it a nerf. Because most times when you're gunning with a pilot, you don't really have communication with them. So yeah, maybe they could raise the TV missile, because most times when I'm flying with the pilot, his nose is pointed down. Since the nose is pointed down, the TV missile is pointing down. And I don't think really helicopters or the newer heli pilots know this, because they're consistently flying down, and no matter how many times you type in chat, point me up, sometimes they don't know. I just don't know what TV is meaning. So I think I covered all of them. Hold on while I look at the patch notes. So I'm getting TV updates. What I missed is that they fixed crashing and Gunmaster crashing. So if you're playing on CTE and you notice a lot of crashing, they seem to fix that. Xbox One PCE, OPE locker, memory pools improved. I'm not really sure what that means, but I guess it's better use of the limited memory or RAM it has on the Xbox One. Output improvements, team balancing changes, which needs to be improved because people are all constantly switching teams on CT, which is really annoying. And I feel it's really just annoying. Squad conquest, if I mentioned that in earlier, but I forgot to mention, it supports 10 tick rate, and 120 hertz 10 tick rate. Like I said before, this may stay in CTE and only appear in like Battlefront, the Star Wars game, or Battlefield 5, but this sounds like a good reason for servers to host 120 hertz tick rate servers, as Squad Conquest is only 10 players, or 15 or 20, no, 10 players. Yeah, 10 players. Yeah, 10 players, yeah, and it's a good reason. I know Battle Nonsense has said the 120 tick rate servers maybe only have like Squad Rush or Squad Conquest, and this kind of just improved it. 120 hertz tick rate. So, although I never got to try it because there's no servers running it, but yeah. The community map doesn't seem to be in the update, as I didn't see the map. So I'll have to check the end. Oh, it says come back Tuesday. That's it. I covered everything. So this is level 0, and I'll track you.